Okay, let's do a quick market recap. Cryptocurrency market over $629 billion. That's just incredible. It's an incredible space. There's over 1,300 different cryptocurrencies right now, most of which are probably garbage. Bitcoin dominance below 50%. That's a big deal. Big deal. Sometimes this means that there's a surge is coming in the price of Bitcoin, and that may be happening. If I was a swing trader, I would be betting that it was going to go up. It's going to go up or down, obviously, but it looks like it's poised for either a big move up or it's positioning for a big move down. It's hard to say. That's why I don't like to trade markets. This channel is the Crypto Wealth channel because I believe in the technology. I love the technology. I love the future. I love where it's going. And because being early adopters in this technology allow us to be able to earn a great deal of income, albeit it's risky income. However, I like to invest in ways where I feel like I'm going to get a more consistent return on my money, and I'm not having to ride so many ups and downs. In other words, I like trying to create strategies that don't get me tangled up in the emotions of the market. This is one of the reasons why I invest, for example, in mining as opposed to just trying to hold as many Bitcoins as possible. I like to be able to find ways to continue to produce Bitcoin. So no matter what the price goes up or down, I'm still looking to gain Bitcoin because long term, I believe the price goes up. So I don't worry about how much my portfolio is down today, so to speak. I'm more concerned about how much Bitcoin am I earning. I do like to see the dollar value on that Bitcoin. But at the same time, I know the market's potentially going to pull back at some point. And there's a lot of things that what I want to talk about today is really how to invest in this environment. And this is the way I choose to invest in this environment. So take this with a grain of salt. Don't consider this financial advice. Consider my channel entertainment for you, or total satire. Heck, maybe you're watching a crypto train wreck when you watch my channel because you're learning about what I do with my cryptocurrency, and you're trying to hear my cryptocurrency investments, and you're hearing about some of my thoughts on the market. However, take a look. So Bitcoin price is over 1,800. It was higher than that yesterday. Ethereum is crazy high, near all-time highs right now. I mean, everywhere you look, the market's up. IOTA's up 20%, of course, again. Dash is up 10%. NEM is up 26%. Look at this. EOS has been on a heck of a run. 49%, it's up. Qtum's up 46%. Tron is up 19%. I'm not all that familiar with Tron. I know there's a lot of guys that like it. Omise goes up 13%. BitConnect's down. HashShare's up 18%. So here's the thing on this market. There's a lot of people feeling like they're smart right now. They're feeling like they're geniuses. I mean, this market has went up over 1,700%. The problem when that happens is that what goes up oftentimes can come down. And you as an investor don't need to be blind. If you're an investor like I am, you don't need to be blind to what's going on in this space. I think that everybody should be involved in this space. You should be learning about this space. I believe Bitcoin is the wave of the future. However, you start hearing people finally, some of the biggest advocates on this market start being cautious about the market. If you followed my channel at all, you'll know one of the things that I'm not concerned about the market and market sentiment. I'm more concerned about exterior factors that may affect market, like government regulation. One of the biggest use cases originally for Bitcoin was currency. Well, this technology has not caught up yet to make it the most viable currency on the market. The only reason it's a great store of wealth right now is because it's portable, it's digital, it's easy to hold, it's easy to transport. That makes it a great store of value, but it became a good store of value because people were first speculating on its ability to become a currency in the future. And after a while, I think that probably the price shot way past what was technologically possible right now. I mean, this makes no sense. Yes, it's fun to watch. And yes, if you bought in down here, you're feeling like a genius right now. And by the way, this market could just skyrocket up even higher. I mean, look right here. Well, even look right here. It even come down here. It did a massive pullback, shot up higher. Market did a big pullback, shot up higher. Look right here. Huge pullback. Took off, went higher. So it's in the middle of a small pullback right now. We'll see where it goes. But you want to be in this space. I want to talk to you about investing in this space no matter where the market goes. So, there's two things that come to light today. We're coming to the end of the year. A couple things are going to happen. Investors, are going to get big tax bills because a lot of investors aren't buying and holding. They're buying and selling, and that creates, taxable events. You've got to pay taxes on that. Or you should pay taxes on it. I love to hear people talk about avoiding paying taxes. That's usually not a good plan long term. If there's anybody that's going to get their money from you, it's going to be the government. But take a look at this. I saw this morning. Crypto crackdown continues. EU to apply strict regulations to digital currencies. So what's going on here is there's talking about how, in 2017, the markets went up 1,700%. Financial institutions are paying attention to it. The EU Council and the European Parliament wants to impose strict rules and regulations with regard to digital currencies. See, there's been this belief that people think that because cryptocurrencies is digital and that it's semi-anonymous. There are privacy coins out there, but it can be pretty anonymous. So there's a lot of people who think that somehow they're safe on their taxes. Like, oh, we don't have to pay taxes or whatever. This isn't a real thing. The reality is governments are going to find a way to get their taxes. They're going to get their fair share. You've made 1,700% if you've been an investor. And if you've made money trading in and out of coins, if you made 500%, 800%, there's a lot of money. They're going to want their share of that money. So they're going to find ways to get it. So one of the things we're talking about here is the currency exchanges having to basically require the platforms will need to identify their users, adhere to limits for prepaid payment cards. So they're basically turning them into regulations similar to financial institutions. This becomes a problem because a lot of the current exchanges that we have now are not going to be in a position. They do not have enough financial resources. I know everybody thinks all these exchanges are super wealthy, but just being in business all these years personally, I can tell you whether they make a lot of money or not, most businesses do not keep a ton of cash on hand, and chances are many of these smaller exchanges and maybe a couple of the big ones are not going to be able to adhere to all these regulations. So the first thing they'll do is they'll probably get rid of EU customers. That will be the first and quickest thing until they can comply, and they'll open back up to the EU market potentially if they choose to comply with whatever regulations may come down the pipeline. And this isn't happening yet. I want to stress that. This is just about you as a potential investor. It's about me as an investor paying attention. And if you're in this space as well, you at least have an interest in this space, or you wouldn't be watching my channel, then you want to be paying attention to this kind of stuff. And this is the stuff that government regulation, even though some level of regulation is going to be needed for if mass adoption ever occurs, and that's a big if, but if it ever occurs, some level of regulation is going to have to take place. But it depends on what regulation, how it affects the market. So right now, they're talking about cracking down. That's going to be interesting to see what effect that has in the marketplace. And if people can't hear, people love to say Bitcoin's never going to get shut down. Listen, Bitcoin might not get shut down, but I can tell you that I am in the US, and I remember when I used to play poker online. And when I played poker online, there was a time when you could log on to a poker site and see 200,000 people at any given time playing poker. And then everybody was like, it doesn't matter. If government regulations comes out that shuts down online poker, then, we'll just, people are going to play poker. They'll find another way. Well, here's what happened. They never shut down online poker. That was too difficult. They made laws where banks were not allowed to do business with online poker rooms. Well, no reputable bank is going to risk their bank charters by going against the federal government. So then the poker rooms had to start dealing in things like Bitcoin. They had to do things like, you had to wire money through Western Union, and you had to wire money through these different agencies, or you had to send money through some sort of MoneyGram service, and it went to a company that did not appear to be like a gambling website. Now, the irony of that is you were not breaking the law as a citizen. I mean, there's a few states in the U.S. that I guess have laws against it, but it's just a few. But there were no specific laws. So you were not breaking the law as a citizen, even though it would kind of feel like it when you were having to go through all these extra hurdles. However, it made it more difficult. You could no longer just use a debit card or credit card to easily deposit money. So what happened is there are still casinos you can gamble at. You can play poker as a U.S. player. You can even do sportsbook as a U.S. player. However, now in the poker rooms, there'll be 700 people, not 200,000. So it just makes the market that much more inaccessible, and government makes it difficult. So I will agree with you. Government may not shut down Bitcoin. And I believe the mass adoption for Bitcoin as a currency, if that ever occurs, and I believe that there's a real possibility it's going to, that is a long ways down the road, because government will first make it difficult by not allowing banks to comply legally. They'll potentially cut off exchanges, etc. if that were to happen. And if it doesn't happen, they'll make it more difficult to open an exchange. So even that's challenging there, right? Because there's less capitalism, there's less innovation, because there's so many hurdles and so much money and so many resources needed just to open an exchange. So when that occurs, it cuts off access to the market. So you're not allowed to easily access the market. And the government, potentially doesn't want you to access the market easily. So, and if you're in the EU, you're like, that doesn't affect us. Well, yeah, but then there's this article where Bitcoin to face same regulations as commodities. Now, I read through this article. This is fascinating. Basically, they're saying that the initial argument doesn't make any sense. The initial argument sounds simple. And I'm traveling right now, so I'm not using my normal software, my normal computer. So I'm going to stop this video now, but in the next video, I'm going to pick up what I'm talking about right here.